All right, welcome to the Implied Project. I'm Tony with Implied, and of course, my lovely co-host Jamie Gaynor, who I've missed for several weeks now. And we've got our special guest, Doug. Is it Scalia or Scalia? I forgot
Scalia.
that.
Scalia, yep.
Scalia.
Out of Arizona, correct?
Correct, yes. Phoenix, Arizona.
Phoenix. You have a ton of inked models over there in Phoenix. Am I right?
I think there are quite a few, yes.
Yes. No, I have quite a few friends out there. I'm like, man, they seem to grow them there in Phoenix. But
well, there's certain areas where there's a lot of like biker crews hang out, like in Cave Creek, California, and things like that. So there's a lot of biker bars, things like that. So
right.
They come to the desert a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say that's Breaking Bad country anyway, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, for those of y'all that are going to be tuning in, feel free to post your comments if you have any questions into the comment section, and we'll pop them up onto the screen. And also, if for those of y'all that are audiophiles, we will have the podcast version available after our live stream. So in the meantime, feel free to subscribe to our channels here on Facebook and YouTube, and we certainly appreciate your support. So Doug, if I read your bio correctly, you actually haven't been shooting that long, right?
No, I probably started shooting in around 2014, 2015. Okay. I started. I had an old camera, and I always liked photography, but really didn't take it very seriously, I guess. It was more of a hobby, and I would shoot my daughter and things like that, but didn't really get serious into, learning about photography and becoming more serious about it and expressing myself creatively really got more serious probably about 2 years ago.
So let's go back before 2014 then. So like what were you doing? Like work, school, where were you at?
I was working I've always worked for technology companies, sales and software primarily. I was living in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area at the time. Okay. And I had a daughter there, and just traveling the northeast, the West Coast more or less, up in Tahoe and things like that. And so I would take photographs of that. I've always been a fan of like Ansel Adams, who did a lot of Yosemite photos and things of that nature. So a lot of black and whites. So I've always liked photography, but never, outside of, like I said, taking pictures of my dog and my child, I really didn't do a whole lot outside of that. Until 2014, I met my current girlfriend, Tracy, who had been doing modeling for a while. And I saw some of the photos she was capturing, and I'm like, hey, maybe this is something that I can do. And I really haven't had a chance to express myself creatively up until now. I have a huge imagination and just haven't really explored that, like I said. So I said, hey, why not start learning more about this, learning about how to properly edit photos and see what I can do, get creative and express myself through photography.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Well, so you happen to be really good at it.
So yeah, it's getting better. The last year has had a pretty significant impact to my photography game.
So if I understand correctly, so then your girlfriend's been a big part of your development then.
Yeah, absolutely. She when we first met, we met in 2014, and a couple of like fitness brands and such were having her model for them. And so I was like, okay, we'll capture some photos. When we'd get together on the weekend, we'd shoot photos. At that time, I was living in Northern California. She was living here in Phoenix. And so we were going back and forth. And so we would take photos for certain fitness brands. They would send her apparel, and we would do some photos and capture them for her. So she definitely was my huge inspiration and probably the primary driver as to why I got into photography. And then as it continued to grow, I thought, hey, this could be a good, kind of a side gig for myself and kind of more of a side job and something that I can do, not only on the weekends to express myself, but I enjoy it. It's keep learning, right? As you get older, there's no reason to stop learning and stop doing things that can enhance, your life. And it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Good.
I love it.
So how
is
did
she
you...
the main... Go ahead.
Go ahead. Your turn.
Is she the main person that I saw? I was looking through your page today. Is she? What's her name?
Tracy.
Your girlfriend? Yes, Tracy. Yeah, Tracy. Okay. All right. So I wanted to know if that was who I was looking at on the page.
Yeah. So up until about 2 years ago, I started getting more serious about it and started looking into, actually making a business out of it and shooting more than just Tracy. And so I started doing that. And then about a year ago, I actually joined a photography group, a fitness focused photography group that really is what really kind of changed my business. And I got really more serious about this. Started incorporating not only learning about lighting and things like that, which I had never used off-camera flash before. So I started incorporating that into my work. And that made a significant difference. So my work, if you look back on my website may not even have that anymore. I might have most of my newer images, but definitely has been a big change in the last 12 months of my work has changed significantly, primarily because of the use of off-camera flash and learning how to use that. And primarily because my focus, if you've looked at any of my images, have primarily been around fitness-oriented people and just capturing them in a variety of ways, accentuating their muscles through the use of light. But not necessarily just have to be, huge, bodybuilder types. It can be, yoga folks. I've shot a couple of different yoga people or yogis, right? Both men and women. I've shot women and men bodybuilders, fitness competitors and so forth. And just, I still do boudoir type shoots and things like that as well. So definitely just like to accentuate people who are fitness types, I guess, in a variety of different styles.
Yes. Sorry, Johnny, go ahead.
No. I was just looking.
I interrupted you before.
No, I can't even remember what I was going to ask. But yeah, I've noticed that you've got like a variety of different looks. I mean, you've got some studio stuff, and of course outdoors, and but your style translates to all of it. So I mean, like I can recognize that it's your work.
Yeah, that's one of the things. So I joined a photography fitness group led by Brett Seeley. I'm not sure if you guys have had him on your show. He's definitely someone I would recommend. He is absolutely my mentor, and I've been following him for a long time. He started, and he's been doing fitness photography for, 11, 12 years now. And last year, I think around January, February, I came across his page, and he was actually putting together a workshop and looking for photographers that wanted to learn how to use off-camera flash and such to enhance lighting better in fitness, and primarily focused around fitness photography. And I had to submit, I submitted a direct message to him on Instagram, and then had to send him an email. I had to answer, they had like a questionnaire you had to answer. So it was it's almost like, applying for a job basically, because he was pretty tough on, because he basically said a lot of people won't even take the time to fill out the survey and such, right? So he was very selective in who he was choosing. But over the course of the last year, we've done a number of workshops in different cities. Basically a number of us photographers getting together with models and shooting them and learning how to use, again, lighting and such. And so he's had definitely a huge impact on my photography, and I've learned a lot from him, and also the group as a whole that we've been part of. So it's been a fun group. And in fact, now I've been able to share some of that knowledge with other photographers, which is wonderful. Even here locally, some of the photographers here in Phoenix have reached out to me, and they said, "Hey, could you teach me? I want to get into this and learn how to use off-camera flash, things like that." So, a lot of us have all learned through YouTube. A lot of photographers, all the YouTube pages. Watching and learning how to edit photos, which is another area I was not particularly great at before. So, learning the technology and the software and those sort of things.
So what's your preferred equipment when you keep mentioning off-camera flash, and what type of stuff do you use?
Yeah, so I'm a Canon shooter. So right now I have a Canon 5D Mark IV as my main camera. A variety of different lenses depending on what the particular what we're shooting. But then I'm using Godot's off-camera flashes. So a couple different. I have 4 different flashes I use right now. Hopefully adding some more. But yeah, that's what I'm using today.
Okay. And what's your preferred editing software?
I use Lightroom as my predominant one for originally, coloring the images, for adjusting some of the coloring, as well as cropping the images. And then I'll take it into Photoshop to do any additional edits or things like that might need more significant things that need to be done. And usually most of the edits tend to be the background, not so much the adjusting the model, but fixing things in the background, coloring and things like that. Removing if sometimes my light might be in the background or things like that, we have to adjust, or a sign or whatever, just to clean that up.
Right.
I feel like every photographer we've asked that, Tony has the same answer. Like it's never just one. It's never just Lightroom or never just Photoshop. There's always both.
And there's another software that I know, Capture One is another software a lot of photographers are using as well. It's a little more advanced, and some of the guys in my group use that. I've done the trial of it, but once you learn one, it's kind of hard to change unless there's a significant reason to change, I think. But I I've spent so much time learning, the two softwares that I use. It's kind of hard for me to make the change now, I guess. But not to say I never will. But
oh yeah, no. I mean, I know Photoshop itself has got a huge learning curve on that. Definitely always learning new things on that one. But no, I like to ask that because, obviously with the newbies, that's one of their most common questions. And I, the equipment's obviously important, but at the same time, I like to emphasize, hey, you could be shooting with a smartphone and come out with amazing pictures if you just have the right eye and know how to capture the light with it.
That's right. In fact, when I first started, like I said, I did mostly natural light shooting. So, and I was always a big fan of window photography. So I loved using windows, either having the model sit near the window or have the window behind her, or, even like a sliding glass door and shooting in those, just that, using natural light in those environments. There's, obviously we all look at photographers, whether it's on Instagram or wherever that we follow that are our inspiration. And like Joshua Paul, who uses a lot of natural light, has worked with Tracy quite a bit in the past. And so he was one of my initial folks that I followed and was kind of inspired me to do some of the styles of shooting that I do now. But obviously I do it with using, Flash.
Right. I thought you looked like you had a question.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Nope, just massaging my dog.
Oh, never mind. Okay.
Just massaging your dog.
So Trey, how did you two meet? How did you guys connect?
We actually met on Instagram, ironically.
Oh, you were stalking her, huh?
Yes. More or less. That's what she likes to say anyway.
Yeah, that's funny. As far as she got in, were you already into the fitness yourself before meeting her?
Yeah. And that's the other reason why I kind of got into fitness photography as well. So I was actually I was a CrossFit coach in the past. I've competed in CrossFit competitions but I've been in fitness my whole life. I mean, I was an athlete growing up as a kid, playing soccer and baseball, and even as an adult playing in competitive volleyball leagues. When I was back in the Bay Area, I became a CrossFit coach, taught CrossFit kids for a while. So I've always been involved with fitness, and so it was an easy thing. And it also helps because I know, like, if I'm capturing a gym shoot, I know the kind of movements they're doing. I know what muscles are going to be accentuated. If it's a CrossFit competition, which I shoot sometimes locally here at the gym that I go to, I get opportunities to actually capture the athletes, and I know what movements will accentuate. Like if I know someone has really good triceps, I know how to accentuate those muscles. Or if they have really good quads or calves, what movements might be great to capture certain exercises to help showcase those muscles.
Right. Yeah. And I do have a question for you because I don't have the opportunity to have to shoot as many fitness models as you have. One thing I've noticed, I'm actually not a big fan, at least maybe it's because of the people I've worked with, but it's a different challenge when they've got that many muscles, because it seems to me like if you don't capture them right, they come out looking kind of boxy, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I think that's why the stroke. Well, part of the thing with the lighting is really key, and the more lights you have, the better when it comes to that.
Right.
I had the privilege of shooting a male bodybuilder just earned his IFBB Pro card in December, and he actually was here at a show in Phoenix. And the day after that night he got his card, and then he came and shot with me, and I felt like it was so amazing because it was the first time I really shot I shot two men last year, and just to see a guy who was in full show prep mode, right? Every muscle was rippling, and so in those situations, the idea of using the strobe lighting is really just to get a lot of highlights, midtones, and shadows. And if you position the lights properly, you can really accentuate them, right? And so what it basically does, the editing process for that is like minimal, right? I mean, I don't have to do hardly anything to his skin. The lighting highlights all those things, and you don't want to. Usually, when you're doing like glamour photography, the lighting is completely different. You want to kind of soften the look on the face. You don't want to show the shadows, the harsh shadows and things. But certainly with muscle tones and things like that, you don't want to wash those all out. And I've had some challenges while I was learning, right? So when I was doing, I shot a couple of women in Dallas, and I remember the lighting on them, and they had full on 6-packs, and the lighting was a little too much on their midtones. On their midsection, so it wound up washing it away a little bit. So it's just it's learning about which angles to put the lighting in, and then also if you're outside, understanding that the sun also acts as another light for you. So, you know, having to properly position that, it's definitely been some challenges, but it's been a fun challenge in the process.
Yeah, I was curious about that because I understand what you're saying. It's just like whenever I would shoot them, it would usually be outdoors, and which I already knew was going to be difficult. But the couple times I shot them, it's because it was either right before or right after competition, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
And they're in that posing mode, and it's like, okay, well, that's not, you know, especially when she wanted to come out looking like all sexy and stuff. Well, when you're posing like that, it's not going to, I mean, in my opinion, it's not going to look sexy. It's going to look like you're posing for a competition. It's different.
Like to do on stage, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, but neither here nor there. Now, do you still have your normal daytime job, or are you doing?
Yeah, my full-time job, I still work in the software industry. I work for a great company out of the Bay Area. I obviously work from home, whereas I guess more people do these days. But it does give me a lot of flexibility. I mean, I'm really, you know, fortunate of that because I have, you know, I get the flexibility on the weekends to shoot. So most of my shooting I do Friday through Sunday. But I've been with my current job for a while, so it helped to get me to invest in my photography, buy the lighting, buy the photography, the cameras and things like that. And as I continue to grow this business, like I said, it's became a full-time, a full business for me early last year. And it's something that I'm definitely looking forward to continuing to grow and see where it all goes.
That's awesome.
Great.
Yeah.
See, this is a good pandemic story. This allowed you to dive more into that. That's great.
You know, it's funny you said that because, you know, I had a lot of plans last year, 2020, and as probably a lot of us all did. And one of them, you know, and I said, you know, if I have to look at anything, my silver lining was I leveled up on my photography. I invested in myself. I joined a photography group that I learned a tremendous amount from, and I'm super thankful and fortunate for. And I took that step in that direction. I bought my first lights and learned how to use them on the fly, and booked my first clients, and the rest is history, right? I just kept going from there, and I enjoyed it.
It gave us more time. I mean, for some people that were working remotely or not working at all for a while, it gave us the time to like dedicate. I never modeled more than I did during the pandemic. Yeah, like I've never done that many shoots. I was overwhelmed with photos. I still am. I can't keep up with it, but it gave us, like, since I'm not in the car all the time driving to and from work or whatever, I have more free time. So I dedicate it to, and you can dedicate yours to this. I think that's a happy story.
You're right. And the other thing was I actually was able to dedicate myself to building the website and which I launched. And I actually rebranded. I wasn't called Scalia Photography when I started. I had another name and I changed it based on some of the coaching I was getting from Brett and so forth. And so, you know, and then I focused on and I started my brand new Instagram, because before it was basically a shrine to Tracy. And so I wanted to rebrand that, and I've, you know, really grown that significantly since then. So, you know, all of that, without the pandemic, maybe I wouldn't have had the time, or devoted the time, I should say, to that, right? Because other things in life would have probably gotten in the way a little bit.
Yeah. We started this podcast.
There you go.
Isn't that right, Tony?
Exactly.
I started my OnlyFans. We started this podcast. So here we are.
Yeah.
I feel like, 2020 gave creative minds the opportunity to dream a little bit, as corny as that may sound. But
yeah.
I'm pulling up some of your work now, so we're going to go ahead and
sure
check, I guess, to let us know some of the stories behind these. Let me go ahead and okay, there's the first one.
Yeah, so this is this is basically what I did I have a garage studio here at my house. I've always been interested in bodyscape photography, but I wanted to kind of add a little twist. So obviously in this case, you're seeing water droplets. You know, very simple. I mean, this is my first attempt at it, and I really enjoyed it. The model actually really enjoyed it too, because she didn't have to do any makeup and hair. But
yeah, we love these.
So I mean, for me, it was really simple editing. Really, you know, basically you're just playing a little bit with the lighting and the shadows and the highlights, bringing them out a little bit more. This was a simple one light setup. In fact, ironically, earlier today, I had someone message me asking about this online, asking if I could give them a little more insights to how I developed some of these. So, like I said, this was actually not a very challenging shoot, but my first attempt at bodyscape, I wanted to mix it up a little bit. We used some glycerin on the skin, a glycerin and water combination in a water bottle to get the water droplets. And just, I've always, your magazines, I've actually been published in your magazine as well, and Implied has always been a type of interest that really has interested me for years. I find it super intriguing. I think it's extremely a captivating type of imagery. I think it's beautiful and sexy. And it's just something I think it's always been a high point for me. I think it's some of the best imagery out there, and I've really embraced it myself. Some of the images you'll probably be sharing. The one you just brought up, the second one, we wanted to kind of just not do a typical bodyscape, but actually get a little bit creative too. So we're using honey in this one. So we just kind of dribbled the honey down and so forth, and kind of just accentuating it. And you can see the color of the honey popping through again with the light hitting it.
Right.
So it's really just, with this case, is really just, using the angles to get the lighting in the right spots, and then hopefully cropping the image properly so that it's safe for Instagram.
Now, what lens were you using here?
In this case, I believe I was using a 50 millimeter.
Okay. Yeah, these are actually nicely done for a first effort.
Yeah.
But like everything, you always have all these new ideas afterwards. So now I'm excited to do it again.
So what's something new that you would want to introduce?
Well, I think I'd like to do more positions. So in this shoot, I think we primarily did the one kneeling position in this case. I'd like to do more, laying down positions, kind of get the side hip position where you're getting that and dribble it down the side of the leg. Just a little bit different. Again, in this case, I only used one light. I might introduce a second light and see how that looks. I mean, you want the big heavy shadows. That's the whole idea about bodyscape anyway, and you just giving that glimpse of the body. But seeing some different things like that. Interestingly enough, I actually had a couple of guys express interest in this type of photography. They're like, do you think guys would be able to get away with this? And I said, well, if you got a six-pack, why not? I'm sure you've got a nice chiseled chest and a six-pack. You absolutely could pull off this kind of look with water droplets. And I'm sure there's plenty of women that would love that view. So.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Jamie smiling. Yes.
Wow.
All right.
So this was one of our workshops that we did in Dallas. So it was a great shoot. This woman's one of the top women physique yogi. So she's out of Washington, D.C. So she was joined one of our workshops, and I had the privilege of shooting with her a couple of different sets that we did. This particular one in the pool.
She's gorgeous.
And she was new. She's fairly new to modeling. She's been a bikini competitor for a while, but and hardcore into fitness. We had funny side story. We went to sushi that night, and she was having sushi rolls, and she showed off her six-pack as her sushi rolls to the waitress. But so we had some fun.
That's funny.
She's incredible.
Let's see here.
Yeah, so that's Nick. We did this one. I shared this with some of the local Phoenix photographers. So this is at a park called Papago Park here in Phoenix, which is very well known. A lot of local photographers shoot there. But this is a very, very busy area. It's called the Hole in the Rock, is what it's called if you look it up at Papago Park, and it's actually in Tempe, Arizona. But the traffic here, foot traffic going through, basically people climb through where she is through the other side and go down and look over the city and things in the park. And so basically every 5 seconds we had to stop and reposition. I had a lot of helpers with the lights. We had 2 lights in this scenario, putting lighting on her. And we constantly had to start and stop because obviously you can see she's got a pretty heavy arch in her back and she's on a rock. So every once in a while we had to let people pass because that's the question I got from every local photographer is, how did you get that shot? And what time of day were you doing this? Because, pretty much in the middle of the afternoon, I think it was the middle of the afternoon we were actually doing this. This is my last shot of the workshop we did at the park. And then we went back to the Airbnb and did some more, but.
You never know how hard it is sometimes.
No.
It's funny you say that. So I have and I say this to everyone, I have a whole new respect for models after starting to become a photographer. Because I didn't realize how, not only is it's just exhausting. It's physically and mentally exhausting. And, you know, not only the whole, and then you talk about fitness photography, we're asking them to hold their muscles and get tight, turn your hips, you know, up, chin up, you know, all these things. And then, you know, as a photographer, every once in a while, we forget to tell you to ease, you know, to relax. I'm bad at that sometimes. And meanwhile, they're still holding their core tight, and we all know how that can be challenging. So, but yeah, and even as a photographer, it's just, you know, your mind's going 100 miles an hour. So it's as you're trying to get them posed just right and just perfectly. And it's definitely not as easy as it always looks.
No,
Definitely not.
I'm never more sore than I am the day after a photo shoot. No workout has ever made me that sore.
Yeah. Well, you know, so Brett's always tells us that, hey, if the model's not sore the next day, she didn't do it right. So if you're sore, that means you're holding the poses all perfectly.
Yeah, calves are screaming every time.
So this is a fun shoot. So this is Jen. She's a significant other of one of the guys in my group as well. And this is a style I wanted to try. So it's obviously a rain shoot that we did ourselves. It's a man-made rain shoot. It's something that I've been wanting to do, and I was really excited. We did this late on a Sunday evening. That same weekend, we did the one at the park there. And essentially, we've got two lights behind her. We've got a third light, 45 degrees and camera right here, you know, shining on her. And then we have someone holding a hose and spraying it above her, behind her, onto a garage, and that's what's raining down behind her. So so that's kind of the trick behind the shower, I guess the rain shoot, if you'll call it. But really just a fun shoot, and kind of obviously having light, you know, illuminating the water that's coming down to make it look like it rain. There's a lot of varieties to this that we can do. We actually at one point had some dry ice that we were spraying in front of her to get a little bit of a steam and smoke coming as well. So trying to get creative and have some fun. And actually, that night in Phoenix it was a little chilly, so I know.
Very creative. I like this one a lot.
Yeah, so this is Ava. Ava came out for a competition in December here in Phoenix as well. She was referred to me through another client, and we did a studio shoot here again in my garage studio, and just wanted to get creative. She had these really just amazing leggings, as you can see, with the sparkles and all that sort of the glitter on it. She was all show ready with her physique, and she wanted to do kind of something like you were mentioning, like the models with a typical pose. They wanted to do sexy fit, fill up the muscles but still look sexy. And so she hadn't really done any shoots like this before, and she absolutely crushed it.
Yeah, this works. Right here.
Yeah.
And that's her again. This shot came out exactly. In fact, she was here with a teammate, and her teammate was watching her, and she was getting jealous of these shots because she's like, "That you just absolutely killed it." And I think with the light colored hair and with her skin tones, and with the dark background, it just all popped. This is actually our first workshop last year as a team. We all went out to Vegas, and this is the Eldorado's dry lake bed. This was, and actually this model, Rachel, it's her birthday today. So Rachel,
happy birthday! If she's watching,
happy birthday, Rachel. So yeah, we shot this out, and we had talked about this. So I'm a big planner too, by the way. So it's one thing I love this whole shoot in Vegas because I had an opportunity to know who I was going to be shooting in advance. I love to plan. I love to map out ideas. We had talked about this shoot and the style and what she was going to do, and so really was excited about that. I had never shot at the dry lake bed, so I didn't really know what to expect necessarily, although I obviously pulled up pictures ahead of time and looked at some inspirational shots and such. But so we kind of mapped this out and said, hey, how can we make it an applied shoot? And she had found these bullets on Amazon or whatever. Hey, I can get this, and I can use my roommate's gun. I guess her roommate is a police officer, and so she leveraged that, and so we had some fun with that.
It's great.
And that's Rachel again.
Yep. Now, what's a challenge if you want to share with our viewers? Like, obviously, you're out in the desert. What's a challenge when you're using your lights to go ahead and shoot out here in this kind of location?
You know, I mean, this is my first time shooting out at this location. And I think the biggest challenge here was that we were shooting later in the day, right? So there is the sun too, so there's a third light. So I had in this case, I had 2 lights on her. One to her left side, which is highlighting her left edge and the rim light, and providing a little bit of a separation from the background. And then the third light is the key light, 45 degrees to my right and her left, camera right. But there's also the sun, and so as we all know, sunset doesn't last forever, right? And as that sun drops, it changes. Everything changes. So the biggest challenge I think most photographers have when they're using the combination of off-camera flash as well as natural light from the sun, is that it's changing, especially later in the day. It seems like later in the day to me is more of a challenge than not, because as that sun gets closer to the horizon, it changes, first of all, the strength of the light, it changes the position of the light, and then that makes you change where you want to put your off-camera flashes if you're using those. So I think that's probably the biggest challenge, is that you got to move, and this shot might have been great right at this time, but 10 minutes later, it probably may not have lit properly at all, right? So I think that's probably the biggest thing. This is
my favorite
Amanda.
Thus far.
This is your favorite? Yeah, this is Amanda. She, I have to say, the weekend in Vegas, she probably was one of my favorite models to shoot without a doubt. She actually was the last edition. She's from San Diego. She came out and shot with us. She was actually prepping at the time for a show. I was super excited to shoot with her. I gave her some inspirational pics that was give her an idea what we wanted. We planned and talked about this, and so I knew exactly the look we were going for. We did this and a couple other shots, and she nailed it. I mean, she actually just has that natural eyes. Typically, I don't know that she had a huge history in modeling, but she just crushed it. Every shot
But every part of this is amazing. Both of you. Do you know what I mean? The lighting in this, how that's falling down on her from above. That's amazing. The light in the back, everything about it. That's incredible.
And she's still showing off some muscle too. You can see close to her core. You can still see her tricep and shoulder. So and then she's got those eyes. And this is Amanda again. So I do, as I said, I am a fan of black and white as well. So certain images I do like to see what the black and white versions might look like. And this is Rachel at our Airbnb that we were at. Or actually the mansion we were shooting at for the day I think that was on Saturday when we were in Vegas. Same trip. Just outside on the patio.
That's
and then inside the door, they had a pool table, that same sliding glass door she was leaning against. And so the classic pool table shot, right? We wanted to get a little creative with that and see what we could do. So, and try to let the colors pop, both in her eyes with the makeup, obviously the blue of her jeans, and also the red of the table and the velvet.
Yeah, it works.
These women are stunning.
Yeah, this is Deanna.
You're beautiful.
So this, by the way, in this workshop we did, there was quite a few photographers and models. So the house was just packed. In this case, it was also extremely hot. So we're in Vegas, right? And we had to take this piece of furniture from downstairs. I think it was like 3 levels or something. And we had to go to the very top level to find the location that looked, because the second level didn't have just a clear view of the horizon, like we can see behind her through the see-through fence or wall, They actually it was all walls. So the background, when we first tried to do it, I'm thinking on the floor below this, it just didn't look right. It was like, she was sitting in this chair, she had the same outfit on, but all it was like a cement wall behind her, like a stucco wall. And it was like, okay, it just kind of, it's not popping, it's not doing it for me. So I said, all right, let's go upstairs. And so we grabbed this, went upstairs. First of all, it was extremely hot. And so I obviously, with her, being topless, we were like, okay, we got to be careful you're not burning yourself on any of the furniture. So I had her sit in the shade while I was getting the lights set up for her. And then I was trying to get down low to get a good angled shot and obviously capture the background as well.
It's beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is another one, same house that we were shooting in. This is we were shooting in, and we had to move a boudoir. This woman saw some work I had done previously. I love aerial shots, but they're always a challenge sometimes to get to the right position. And this was no different. We had to move a whole armoire right over next to the bed so I could actually climb up on it and shoot from above her. But she had this idea. She had seen a shot I had done previously way back when. It was on my Instagram, I think, and she said, "I want to do a shot like that. I saw this shot you did from above, and I think it'd be really cool." She goes, "I have this colored robe that I want to get, and we'll just do this." So we got a couple of shots like this of her. Again, we literally moved this heavy furniture, and she's a competitor as well herself, so she definitely helped me out with that.
That's one advantage.
Yeah, I was a little worried that the owner of the house was going to come home and realize we rearranged the entire bedroom, but. But yeah, I was trying. And this actually was another little comment on this one. Is this so? I had always used, when I've done like boudoir type shots in the past, I'd always use natural lighting. So I had used some continuous lighting in the past, on low, but never had used strobe. So this is my first attempt at using that, and so it's a little more challenging because you kind of want that moody lighting usually with boudoir, and you do want kind of a little bit. In some cases, this might have been too bright even on our backside. So sometimes I've got some less powered lights that I'm using now and some of the latest work that I've been doing that'll actually give a little more softer light. But yeah, it's definitely made some challenges, but it was definitely fun.
This was still good work. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a shot. This was an inspirational shot. So this is Tracy. And this was an inspirational shot that we actually had. This was no plan to shoot this. So again, talk about being a planner, right? I plan my shot. If I can, I have a lot of times I think it way ahead of time, but some of these, I had a shot in mind we were going to shoot this shot at the pool, in the pool, with her leaning up against the side of the pool. The problem with this, when we got to this location, the pool actually had like a big step between the edge of the pool and the pool. So she really couldn't get up against it. So, and there was a lot of folks shooting in the pool, other photographers. So this is actually a hot tub that was next to the pool. And so I said, okay, well, let's go over here and we'll see what we can do on this. And it just so happened that the waterfall from the hot tub was positioned just so perfectly. So yeah, this is one of my favorite shots of the weekend. And I think even Brett, our mentor, said he hates me because he wishes he had this shot.
Yeah, this is a really good shot.
A lot of guys couldn't believe, like, well, how did you come up with that? I'm like, it just came. It wasn't, I didn't like map it out. It just happened to work out.
Sometimes it is best when you improvise.
Yeah, I mean, in this area. Now this is another shot, very similar. I had kind of a vision in mind. Obviously, it's the same location. It's just a different angle. I'm shooting from the side angle, and that's the waterfall behind her that she previously was hiding her. But yeah, it's a lot of this. I use inspirational pictures I see on, whether I see it in a magazine or I see it online or I see it on Facebook or from other photographers or other models, and we all follow up others. And it's not necessarily to copy those images. It's to see, hey, I want to do this, or I love that image, but I want to try to live away. And I have to say that the images I captured were definitely better than the inspirational, or to me anyway. And we all have our own views on things. But I was super, super happy with the images that I got, and they were, the inspirational pic drove me to do it. But I was super happy with the result.
That's awesome.
This is in Dallas. So we were in Dallas for a workshop weekend. And then the last day in Dallas, this was a Sunday morning, actually. We went to Deep Ellum in Dallas, which is kind of like graffiti walls and things like that, in a kind of an urban setting, which I have not shot in very much, actually. So I was excited about it. And so there's a few of us, actually, in this case, myself and one of the other photographers in the group were actually shooting Tracy, and we were walking around trying to find locations to put her in. And I found this little wall, and I thought, hey, this would be great. Hey, sorry, one second, my thing's losing power.
My phone said 20% just a second ago too.
Yeah, my laptop. I think the dog tripped the plug and it was getting knocked out. But anyway, I found this little window. This is a window, I think, to a bar or something like that, and it was locked down. But she had to climb up into this, and then I was literally shooting her from like across the road, and there were cars coming by, and they were honking at me because I was like shooting from the middle of the road. And anyway, we tried to do the best we can to get her lit up. I mean, I have some ways I would have probably wanted to do this even better, but we had limited time and things like that to get it done. And so the traffic was beeping at me on a Sunday morning.
Been there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. But it was fun. It was that got her up in the window. The one thing I would have probably done, just to share like what I would have done differently. So in this case, I think there's 2 lights on her. I would have liked to have put a light up in the box with her because it's basically a frame that she's standing in.
Right.
Maybe right to the left, which would have separated her from the background a little bit more. So because especially with dark hair from a model, it's not the black background. It would have been nice to have a little bit more of a rim light on her hair to separate her.
Yeah, it's still a good shot.
Yeah.
And here's back to aerial shots, right? We're talking about aerial shots. So this is a fun one that we did. I've always liked. So you'll notice with my work, and I think the group has noticed, I love using water. I don't know. It was something about water, whether I think you get a beautiful woman in water to something just appealing about that, right? And whether it's the bodyscape shots with water driplets and droplets and things like that, or it's in the swimming pool, as you just saw earlier. This case, we're doing the bathtub shoot. It's just an elegant shot from up above. A lot of obviously black and white, but it just works. So,
like, that's magazine worthy right there. That's so dreamy.
Yeah, the only thing I thought about if I should have removed in editing, right? So the knobs and the faucets and things like that. There's always these things you think about afterwards. Should I remove that? Would it have made it better?
No, I love it. Love exactly as it is.
Excuse me. Great work.
Yes. There we go.
All right. Well, like I said, hopefully people see what I was talking about at the beginning when, like, whether it's in a studio or outdoors, you still have that same aesthetic across all your pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's funny because I didn't really realize I did have that. And I've had a couple of guys in my group actually share that with me, which is nice because that's what we're all after. We're all after trying to have a brand. When they see your image, can they recognize it even without your logo on it? That's really the ultimate goal, right?
Exactly.
And I know that some of the guys have said that, I saw the image and they're like, oh, that looks like something Doug might take. And they're like, wait a minute, it is Doug's. So that's, obviously a huge compliment. The other thing that I've heard with my work is that I mentioned how much of a planner I am. And there's times when I haven't had a chance to plan at all. I get that. One of the things I do sometimes stress out about is location. Where am I going to shoot? If I'm shooting in a new city I've never been to, what's it going to look like? What's the room? Even if it's a hotel room, what's the hotel room going to look like? And so, but somehow what the compliment I got from some of the guys and that folks that I work with, other photographers, is they say, no matter where you are, you seem to make the model pop. And so I don't know what it is. You can adjust and adapt the environment. And I've been lucky enough to learn that. So I'm learning that on the fly, I guess, to be able to do that.
That's awesome.
Let's take a quick look at your Instagram. And by the way, folks, again, you can actually follow him. The link is on the show's caption, so feel free to follow. Let's see here. Oh, where am I? Okay. There we go. Excuse me, Scalia /_photo. And this is some more of your work here. Here's some of the guys you were talking about.
Yes, that's Alan. Yeah, Alan's great. I called him like the real life Superman. He was amazing.
And then I saw that you apparently do glitter, bath shoots.
Yeah, for Valentine's Day weekend, I'll be in Vegas, and I am booking glitter bath shoots. So some unique bathtub. So getting some more creative with the water again. So
I'll bet that is a challenge.
Well, it's a messy challenge, really. It's the cleanup is the hardest part, I think.
You know what? I'm thinking about that. My close friend and photographer that I work with most often, Chris Rembold, who's been on the show before, he's a big water person too. I don't know if he's put that together, but we did a rain shoot. And if there's ever water anywhere where we're shooting, he's like, oh, I want to get a reflection of that everywhere we go.
There's you at work.
There I am. Yeah, that's in San Diego. That's where I talk about stressing out. She came up with the idea of what outfit, and I didn't. I'm like, okay, but where are we going to shoot? So the day before, I'm like scrambling. Where are we going to shoot? I don't know where we're going to shoot. So we found the marina, and she mentioned the outfit she wanted. She wanted to do a little retros 80s kind of shoot. And I said, okay, well, let's go down the marina and we'll do something down there. And she made a lot of friends down there.
I'll bet.
I bet.
Yeah, there were a lot of people that loved her. Actually, one guy actually
Oh, excuse me.
I would give anything to be in San Diego right now. God, that sounds amazing.
Although that was the weekend they shut down everything again. So.
Oh.
Excuse me. I love that outfit of hers.
So do I.
Yeah, it was terrific.
I've been working on a roller skating shoot too. So yeah, I love this. I like how this looks.
Here we go. I like how you make the colors pop.
Yep.
Yeah, I try to bring out some of the colors a little bit, and obviously accentuate, in this case, her socks and such.
Right. This is an interesting shot.
Yeah. So like I mentioned, I had the luck of shooting a couple of yoga folks last year, which yoga is another, very challenging fitness way, and being able to do some unique things. And I met this woman, B, here locally. I think she's out of Scottsdale. And she had some terrific poses, and this is a park not too far from me. And I said, okay, well, I scoped it out actually the day before. I didn't know what poses she was going to do. The one challenging thing with yogis, right, is that they know what the pose is supposed to look like. So in this case, I had to let her see the images beforehand and say, okay, well, which images, because I don't want to edit a photo and then have her say, well, a real yogi is going to look at this and say, I wasn't doing it right. Yeah. So I gave her let her preview the images first and select which images she wanted to have a gallery for me to edit. And this is one that she did. She got obviously quite creative and has amazing balance.
That's an angle I never even considered, that someone who does yoga would, like their form would have to be perfect for them to post it. I never even considered that angle. Wow. Yeah.
So this shot, it's one of my favorites with her. I loved. We did a few different shots like this down on the ground, leveraging the bricks, and obviously I scouted out this location the day before, and I said this would be perfect. I got the palm trees, and I could use a little bokeh and let the trees and the building in the background kind of blend away, and just let her pop, and she crushed it.
It's beautiful. I'm a big fan of leg warmers. Also, I don't know why. I think they look really good in shoots. I'm a big fan of leg warmers.
Great stuff. Here's another one from her, I guess.
Yep. Yeah. So that's on the opposite side where that previous shot was taken. This is on like a little pillar she was sitting on, and again, just trying to capture her straight down the middle of the trees there.
I love it. Those leading lines. Oh, I love it.
And I liked it because it shows, I do obviously kind of tag myself as a fitness photographer, because everyone I shoot, but I wanted to show a variety of things, right? It doesn't have fitness photography doesn't mean I'm shooting people in the gym all the time. In fact, that's probably the least places I shoot people.
Right.
And you mentioned too earlier, right? The shooting person who's just flexing and posing. A lot of the folks that I tend to want to shoot, they want to shoot with me. They don't want to do the traditional poses stuff. They want to do something sexy. They want to do something, in a studio look, or something creative outside, or at the dry lake bed, or the glitter bath, or they can pose themselves on stage and get plenty of those shots when they go to their shows every other month or whenever they're doing it. Exactly. And even guys like some of the photographers, from a fitness perspective, I like to shoot like what I would say a staged gym shoot, not so much a posed one. Meaning I don't want to shoot you while you're doing your bicep curl and just holding it for me, right? I want to shoot you while you're in the middle of your workout. Capture you in the real moment where you're actually going through that last rep and you're screaming and or whatever you're doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
To make it more realistic. So when I shoot like CrossFit type shots, I want to do when you're climbing the rope, or when you're doing that, pushing that tire over, and you're not just posing with the tire and trying to look pretty, you're actually, working every muscle.
Doing it,
get it over. So those are some of the things I'm trying to do. I'm working with some local athletes here to do some gym shoots that are in the gym, but capturing them in the moment of doing something, whether it's a sled push or whatever, and just have my lights set up so that while they're doing the workout, I'm firing away.
Right. Yeah. That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. Well, we really appreciate you spending the time with us. Those were amazing photos, of course.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
What do you have coming up in the future that you're working on?
Yeah, so well, you gave a little glimpse of it. Next thing will be the glitter baths in Vegas. Where I'll be there February 12th to the 14th. That's where I'm going. So I'm booking some final shoots there. Probably go out to the dry lake bed again, do some things there. In terms of other creative things, I'd like to do some more things with water. See what else I can do. I'd love to do some shower shoots. I haven't done anything like that, and things of that nature. And we'll see. I mean, I'm definitely like to keep coming up with new creative things to do, right? I mean, maybe some nighttime shoots. I haven't done anything really in the nighttime, so maybe do some things like that.
That'd work.
Yeah,
that'd work.
We'll have to stay tuned.
Yes, definitely. We'll definitely keep in touch and see what you got. But anyway, again, this Doug Scalia from Arizona, and again, feel free to click on his link to go ahead and follow him on Instagram. I also have his website link on there as well. And yes, thanks again, Jamie, my friend who I've missed for several weeks now.
I've missed you, and I missed this podcast and all of it. Glad to be back.
Yes. Anyway, so again, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel, and hopefully, Doug, we'll have you back on in the future. We're going to do some more fun stuff with some of our past guests and stuff.
Absolutely, I'd be happy to do so. Thanks so much for having me.
We'll have Tracy on with you.
Absolutely,
yes.
we could definitely do it together.
All righty. All right. Well, thanks for watching.
All the things that she taught me.
Yeah, that would work. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. It's the Implied Project, and we'll catch you next time.
All right.